Ooh, I love live music, but will I love this? Thom Yorke live at Sydney Opera House. G'day, it's Adam here again with another quick instant movie review for you. So something a little bit different. Tonight I caught Thom Yorke live at Sydney Opera House. Now this is a concert film based on two-night performance. Featured a career-spanning set during Thom Yorke's Australian solo shows in 2024. The shows took place at the iconic Sydney Opera House forecourt, and the performances were marked by some intense rain, adding to the atmosphere of the concert, which was filmed for a very special release and directed by Dave May, who's worked with many an artist, including Flight Facilities, Rule, Underworld, Hilltop Hoods, as well as the ABC show Love on the Spectrum. So this was part of Thom Yorke's first ever solo tour, which saw him to return to Australia after over a decade. So the concert was described at the time as a man versus the machine approach, combining intense electronic soundscapes with some intimate stripped back moments. The performance also featured some material from his entire career, from Radiohead, The Smile, Atoms for Peace, and solo work. Set list included Rabbit in Your Headlights, a rare live acoustic version of Radiohead's Let Down, and the tour debut of Idiotech. So, what did I think of this? Well, let me be clear from the outset. I do not know much about Thom Yorke. I did grow up in the 80s and 90s, so Radiohead was certainly a fixture on the radio with Creep, obviously, in 93. And then when OK Computer came out in 97, that pretty much blew up. That was sort of a massive album, obviously, and a cornerstone for alternative rock at the time. And the 90s was a weird time because you really had that, that pop of the 80s coming into a strange little time in the early 90s. Then it was really hitting a grunge era. You had some of those massive grungy bands come through, obviously Nirvana, Pearl Jam. So there were some massive ones. And then you've got Radiohead that kind of came in and merged this alternative rock with some electro thrown in for good measure. So that's how I describe Radiohead at the time. But in the middle of all this, you had this amazing falsetto vocal coming straight through the guts of it and piercing your heart. I mean, Karma Police is such an amazing song. I love that track off OK Computer, and the music video is iconic, dare I say. But yeah, there were some great ones. No surprises, obviously, as well. So, there was some very interesting stuff that came through when Radiohead was around. And then they didn't technically disband, but, Johnny Greenwood and Thom Yorke and the rest of the guys all went and did solo projects. So, you've got a real diversifying of projects for most of the band. I believe they all came back together again in 2025, so that's pretty cool. So as I mentioned, this is one of those performances where you've got man versus machine, which is what it was decked out to be. So you basically have, I think it's 6 different keyboards on the stage. It's a lot anyway. It's a pretty cool over the shot of all of these keyboards on the stage, which basically forms the instrumental part of the evening, where Thom Yorke set about basically creating soundscapes and recreating all of his tracks, some of them in acoustic with a guitar, but most of them with an electronic feel, using all these samples and all of these synths. So it looks pretty amazing. And then on top of all that, you have what I can only describe as an anarchic screensaver display on all of the screens, which put up some trippy visuals, that's for sure. It is shot very well. I'll give you that. It's shot extremely well, and obviously Thom Yorke has some pretty iconic moves on stage, which obviously have followed him through his whole career. And everyone's got a small signature, and clearly he has a few signature dance moves, a few signature arm moves, and yeah, the show is pretty interesting to look at. Lots of visuals, and it's quite interesting how the lights and the visuals play off the stage and off the screens as well, and sort of formalize this backdrop against the rocks of and some of the landscapes behind the stage. The overhead shot looks really good, and the use of sort of the half fade between two different shots is well utilized in this. The one thing I would say about this, that I think any time that you are going to be watching a concert, in a cinema or up on a big screen or anything like that, sure, you want the visual focus and you want this amazing sound, so you feel like you're there. But I do feel like this was edited quite hard. I think this thing goes for about 83 minutes, and not really at any stage does Thom Yorke address the audience. At no stage is there how you're going out there, hey Sydney, how are you, Ro? So none of that banter with the crowd. So in that respect, it feels like quite an insular performance. Yes, he does say thank you a number of times after doing tracks, but for me, I like to see a performer that does engage with the crowd, because otherwise, really, what you're doing is you're introducing some self-isolation, in the room, in the space. And I'm not sure if that was done because that's just how the concert went, or if it was an editing decision that was made to just make it all about the music. And I suppose when I was watching this as well, it did feel a little bit like a trance-like state. It really did feel like you could just put your headphones in, or close your eyes and listen to this, and probably would send you off to sleep. Or if you've had a disco biscuit, it would probably enhance that experience really well for you. So yeah, look, if you are a Thom Yorke fan, and let's be very clear, he is an extremely talented individual. His voice is phenomenal. His falsetto is really something else. Is this the type of music that I'd sit down and listen to by choice? Probably not. Has this changed my mind about Thom Yorke and the music that he plays, and for me to seek his back catalogue? Probably not. But if you're a diehard fan of Thom Yorke, of Radiohead, of all of the different types of bands and configurations that he's been a part of over the years, I think you're really going to love this, because it does showcase some of those songs in a slightly different manner. It does show you Thom Yorke performing on stage, after being away for such a long time, and in a solo capacity without any other band or anything like that. So it's a really interesting experience to see a musician crafting live on stage. Anyway, so Thom Yorke live at the Sydney Opera House from 2024. I'd probably give it 6.5 to a 7 out of 10. I mean, there it is. It's there. And if you love Thom Yorke, you're really going to enjoy it. I don't think it's going to convert you if you're not, but there it is. Okay, that's my review of that. I go and see it in the cinema, because a lot of people have been waiting for this to come out, and I think if you are a fan, you're really going to enjoy it up on the big screen with some amazing sound, which this does deserve. All right, that is it from me. I hope you have the most amazing night, and I look forward to catching up with you all next time here in my car, where I'll be listening to more than just Radiohead. Okay, bye-bye.